Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here, and welcome back to another Overwatch video. And in today's video, I want to talk about the next hero that we may potentially see added to the game. You might remember a while back I did a video on Sombra, collating together all the information that we had at the time, and of course since then, Ana has been added to the game. Following on from that, there was of course the more recent Sombra hints, the glitchy forum post, and of course the A Moment in Crime website, which is currently on 23%. It's moving very slowly. Someone please get that person a bit of internet connection. Anyway, because that trail seems to have gone cold, for the time being I instead wanted to turn my attention to someone else. Doomfist. Now Doomfist is a character or a series of characters that we've seen mentioned before. Way back in the original Overwatch cinematic trailer, we of course saw Doomfist's Gauntlet in the museum, and Widowmaker and Reaper tried to steal it whilst Winston and Tracer helped defend it. And in the Numbani map there are also these three posters and of course some other images dotted around the map. True, they have been there for a while, it's not exactly new, but they are going to form a large talking point for today's video. These posters depict three different Doomfists and can perhaps give us a hint as to who or what this character is. So if you do enjoy this video, then a like would be super appreciated, and be sure to comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Now, let's start by taking a better look at these images. There are three Doomfists here, which right off the bat indicates that Doomfist is not just one person, but is instead most likely a title given to whomever assumes the role. We have the Saviour, the Scourge, and the Successor. The Saviour has a Swahili name, which, for fear of butchering it, I won't attempt to pronounce, but this literally translates as Doomfist, which would make sense, assuming that he is the first of the line. He also looks very heroic in his pose, which likely explains his title as the Saviour. You'll also notice that his Doomfist, so to speak, is pretty primitive. It looks kind of like a pair of knuckle dusters. Moving on to the Scourge, he has a name comprised of two Nigerian words, which translates roughly as the return of the strong one and the crown that suits me well, which combined sort of explains why he has assumed the role after the original. He's likely taken the crown, it suits him, and he's now the new Doomfist on the block, or something like that. Also, by the way, credit for the translations goes to the Overwatch wiki. I will leave a link to the Doomfist page in the description box down below. I definitely don't speak Swahili or Nigerian, so that was a massive help. Anyway, moving over to the third one. Now, this name here is written in Omnic, and while we don't know what it says, it might give us a hint as to who this third shadowy figure is. See, the reason the Doomfist Gauntlet is in the Numbani Museum is part of the Unity Day celebrations to commemorate the peace between humans and Omnics. So with that being said, perhaps the third Doomfist is Omnic, or part human, part Omnic. Think kind of like Cyborg from the DC Comics. Now, if we jump back to the Gauntlet in the museum, this is most comparable to the Gauntlet seen on the Scourge. True, the Gauntlet is for the right hand, and in the picture the Scourge appears to be left-handed, but it is entirely possible that the poster was simply flipped for artistic reasons. After all, there is a line in the Numbani map that states and confirms that the Gauntlet on display was in fact worn by the Scourge. Furthermore, it's also worth noting that Winston defeated one of the Doomfists, and given that the Gauntlet on display was worn by the Scourge, and he's also the more evil looking one, I would imagine it's therefore safe to assume that that was the one that Winston went toe to toe with. Also at BlizzCon at the World of Overwatch panel, they said, and I quote, "They," referring to the people in Numbani, "are threatened by the villainous hero Doomfist." They then followed up by saying, "I hear he could level a skyscraper." There was also then this teaser image showing a burning skyscraper, so we kind of know that there is a Doomfist running riot somewhere in Numbani trying to mess stuff up. Now, when Winston defeated Doomfist, the question remains, did he kill him, or did he just lock him up, send him on his way, take his Gauntlet? We honestly don't know. I mean, is the Scourge still running riot, and hence that's why Widowmaker and Reaper tried to retrieve the Gauntlet? Or is this new Doomfist, the one that we are thinking could well be Omnic, also a villain? Perhaps Doomfist was at first a peaceful character, hence being known as the Saviour. But as the generations have passed and others have taken on the mantle, perhaps that title has been somewhat corrupted and people are instead using the power for evil. Maybe, if this third Doomfist is part Omnic, maybe he's trying to upset the peace and the balance between the human race and the Omnics. To be honest, all of that is just wild speculation. I mean, if we wanted to go even more wild, could the kid from the cinematic assume the role of the next Doomfist? Unlikely, let's be honest, but right now it's all just a crazy theory. I would imagine, however, that if Doomfist does get added as a playable hero, we'd more than likely assume the role of this third character. He's clearly shown in shadow to conceal his identity, and also the Doomfist Gauntlet clearly progresses with each new owner. I very much doubt it's the same Gauntlet, likely just new versions each time, given that it goes from being a knuckle duster all the way up to a full-blown bionic looking arm, which is pretty badass by the way. And furthermore, if we do see Doomfist added, I think it's probably fair to say he would join the tank roster. Blizzard said before that the next heroes to be added would more than likely be support and tank, and we already had our support addition in the form of Ana, so tank seems like the next logical step. Finally, something else worth mentioning is that at the beginning, Doomfist was but a passing name and was never intended to be a major character. He was just a throwaway line in the cinematic, but after his Gauntlet was featured and references to him were made in Numbani, Blizzard decided to make him a generational character, where basically multiple people in the same universe can assume the role of Doomfist. Blizzard have then even gone as far as to discuss the possibility of making Doomfist a playable hero, stating that if he were playable, he would also be aware of the Doomfist that preceded him. And that, my friends, is pretty much all I have for now. There haven't really been any recent hints to indicate this character's immediate arrival, so for the time being, this is of course all just speculation based on the information that is currently out there. Of course, as and when we hear more about any new characters, be that Doomfist or someone else entirely different, I'll be sure to keep you guys posted, but until then, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and thank you very much for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.